All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and sincerity, all the men and women who follow. This is Brother Karatazah from the Fountain of Living Waters coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled, You Gotta Keep the Devil Way Down in the Hole. All right. And that comes from this song written by Tom Waits, all right, Way Down in the Hole. Lord's What is the edifying video? Um, the other day, I was watching one of my favorite old school shows, The Wire. And if you watch The Wire and you listen to the entrance music, it's this song. So I just wanted to kind of go through this song and kind of take the bits and pieces out of it because and I kind of went through like the first part but not really all of it, and Lord's word is edifying. So um let's start with it. Says, when you walk through the garden, you gotta watch your back. Right now, there's a lot of twofold songs in here, right? And apparently Tom Waits looks like an Edomite, but if you hear this song, it's like it's yeah, he might be a Jake. If you listen to this song, I don't want to play it and get uh you know flagged or whatnot. But if you listen to this song, it's a very soulful song. When you walk through the garden, you gotta watch your back. Well, I beg your pardon. Walk the straight and narrow track. But when you walk through the garden, definitely referencing the Garden of Eden. But like I said, it's twofold. So when you just walking through, you really got to watch your back. It says, "Well, I beg your pardon, walk the straight and narrow track," and that's what the scriptures say, right? About walking the straight and narrow. Um, uh, Maybe I'm thinking. Yep, there we go. Matthew 7:13, it says, Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many be there which that go thereat. So, that straight gate is essentially the tougher path, right? Straight means, a place of difficulty, and it says, Wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. You know, um, Anything that's easily obtained has little value, right? That's why gold is so valuable because you got to work for it to get it, you know. But something like a bottle of water, you can get that at the store for freaking $1.29 or something like that, opposed to a gold nugget that may be worth thousands of dollars, right? Because the difficulty that it takes to get to that mineral, opposed to free sunlight. You know what I mean? So when it talks about walking that straight and narrow track, you know, it says, I'll keep going. It says, if you walk with Yahweh Shai, he's going to save your soul. You got to keep the devil way down in the hole. Now, what I'm getting from this is, if you walking with Yahweh Shai, you keeping the Lord on your mind. The Lord is always in your thoughts, throughout your day, throughout, you're walking this truth, you know, um, Meditate on the scriptures, day and night. It says you got to keep the devil way down in the hole. Now that may be referencing Revelations when it talks about Satan was cast in. Let me see. Was that like Revelation 20? Con. Revelation 20 and 3 says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and put a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more until 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Well, he was already cast into the bottomless pit and he's already been loosed. But when he's saying keep the devil way down in the hole, it's what I'm getting from it, you know, it's Satan's job uh to throw us off our game. As a matter of fact, let's jump in Job real quick. Let me see. So let's start Job 1:1. It says there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was a perfect and upright. That man was perfect and upright, and one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. Right. So we know who Job is. He's a upright dude. Satan couldn't mess with him. So let's matter of fact, let's get that. Job 1:6 it says, and there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro and in the earth, and from walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. And Satan answered the Lord Yahweh and said, doeth Job fear the Most High? For not has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he have on every side? Thou hast blessed with the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. So he couldn't get to Job. Satan couldn't get to Job because the Lord put a hedge around him. Verse 11 it says, but put forth thy hand now and touch all that he have, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said to Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself, but not it's like it only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So now Satan got the opportunity to fuck with them. And man, you don't want Satan on you because it's his job to fuck with you. It's his job to get in your mind and to belittle you, to nitpick you, to tell you you're not a man of the Lord, to make you have weird thoughts or be depressed or fall to temptation, things like that. It's Satan's job to break you down. So you got to keep him in that hole. You can't let him get loose on your life. You have to grab a hold, right? That's why you got to walk with Yahweh Shai and keep Satan down in the hole. It says he's got the fire and the fury at his command. Well, you don't have to worry if you hold on to Yahweh Shai's hand, right? Because we're going to go through some tribulations. We're going to go through some rough times. And it ain't even bad yet. And we're going through rough times. But again, if you walking with Yahweh by Shem Shai, all right, if you calling on the names of the Lords and you praying and you trying in truth and sincerity, matter of fact, let's grab that real quick, right? Come on, man. Y'all know what I'm looking for. So Rock 2010 it says, look at the generations of old and see did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did ever despise, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Right? So if you walking with the Lord and man, you honestly putting your trust in him, he's gonna be there for you. He's gonna make a way. He's gonna save you. He's gonna put that hedge of protection around you that Job had, right? It says, so I'll go back to the beginning of this one. It says, he's got the fire and the fury at his command. Well, you don't have to worry if you hold on to Yahweh Shai's hand. We'll all be safe from Satan when the thunder rolls, when times get hard, when when martial law is ready to come down, when the chip is ready to be implemented, when the enemy come in like a flood, when there ain't no food to eat, all right, when you can't trust your neighbor, all right, in the times of Jacob trouble, and when you really need the Most High, you know what I mean? When you really need the Most High, you know, says, we'll all be safe from Satan when the thunder rolls. You just gotta help me keep the devil way down in the hole. You gotta keep him away, man. You gotta eschew evil. You gotta be strong, man. It's really is willpower. Let's get that definition. So willpower, from will and power, I guess. Let me see. Willpower is an English compound word. Let me see. Willpower is the control exerted to do something or restrain impulses. You know, you gotta have control over yourself, and be able to restrain from them impulses. Man, what does the scripture say? Yep, there we go. This is 1 Corinthians 9:27. It says, "But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, least by any means, when I preach to others, I myself should become a castaway, should be a castaway." So you have to have some kind of self control. It's tough, hey man, fighting these fights, man, with Satan, because Satan knows you. He knows exactly where to attack, where you're weakest at, and that's where he's gonna start. He can't tempt you with something that you won't fail at, something that you can't overcome. So he's gonna play on those strings that he can pluck on, and he's gonna keep plucking, and until you make that sound. So when he says you got to keep the devil down in the hole, man, you got to suppress him. You can't let him get a hold of you. You can't let him get out and run wild on your life. Last verse it says, "All the angels sing about Yahweh's mighty sword, and they'll shield you with their wings and keep you close to the Lord. Don't pay heed to temptation. Don't pay heed to temptation. Don't fall for the wiles of the devil." Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Right? You can't let him. You can't fall for his fucking tricks, man. He gonna send them your way too. It don't matter. what uh your vice is. It don't matter what you know well what turns your screw, so to speak. It don't matter what it is. He gonna find a way to scratch that itch. If you like women, he might send the biggest freak in the world to you. Everything that you ever thought or imagined, it can be yours. But she had a man. But she willing, and she want to get down with you, and she'll do any and everything you ever dreamed or thought of in your life. But she got a man. So now you got to pick and choose. You want to fall to Satan's temptation, or you want to uphold your Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's law, statutes, and commandments. You gonna stand on your 10 toes, or you gonna fold, man? We all go through these battles every day. You know, this ain't nothing new. We may not vocalize it, you know, even to each other, but you have to be able to say within yourself, would the scripture say, "Let a man examine himself"? First Corinthians 11:28. But let a man examine himself, so let him. Uh, that's not the one I wanted. Examine himself that they be in the faith. That's the one I wanted. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Second Corinthians 3, 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, "Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is in you, except you be reprobates, completely void of judgment." What does the word void mean? Void means unoccupied, vacant, without contents, empty, hollow, waste, uncultivated, no judgment. Rejected as worthless. You know, if unless you're worthless, unless you're a worthless nigga, you know, you have to know that Yahweh Shai Mashiach is in you, and you have the strength within you. Hey, and I'm totally speaking to myself when I'm saying this. The Lord's will, somebody else catch a nugget from this, but I'm saying this for me because I struggle, because I go through times and places of difficulty. This is a simple walk, but it's not an easy walk. And it shouldn't be an easy walk. Nobody wants anything easy just handed to them. The Lord's not going to just hand you the kingdom. It should be difficult. And we all got our own personal tailor made hell that we have to endure while we in here. Just don't let the devil get way down, or you got to keep the devil way down in the hole. Don't let him get a hold of you. Keep your mind right. Feed your mind. Know yourself. Right? You said to examine yourself whether you be in the faith. Hey, man, you got to know yourself. You got to know, I better stop scrolling. I can't keep scrolling on Instagram because I'm going to see these booties and all these women on here, and it's going to make me feel a kind of way. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to start, some people can't drink. Some people will, I'll just have one, and then one turn into 20. Well, you probably shouldn't start with the one. You got to know your triggers, you know, really sit down and pick yourself apart, man. break yourself down to a million pieces and then build yourself back up stronger. And one thing, a brother, always told me that I keep with me, you got to get rid of that child trauma and the daddy issues. Shout out that brother Raib, you know, Raib Mouth. You gotta real life, you know, the things that you may have experienced 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, can still have a profound effect on you today. Have a whole hold on your life. You just gotta keep the devil down in the hole, man. You gotta get that monkey off your back. Maybe you won't get the monkey off your back. The Lord's will you do. But you gotta keep fighting. You can't give up. That's the one thing you can't do. You can't give up. Matter of fact, Proverbs 24:16. For a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. I want to see what that says in the NLT. It says, the godly man may trip 7 times, but he will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. You know, everybody not built for this, man. Some one man may, you know, uh, you know, give into a temptation. I'll say give into some kind of temptation and feel like a piece of shit, and get up and get back on the horse. You know, but that same situation can happen to another, and it takes them away. It drives them off a cliff, and there's no recovery. But you gotta know that this ain't the end all be all. We got more promise for us. So don't let Satan get the advantage. I'm gonna finish reading this and we're gonna close it. Maybe something else will come up. It says, all the angels sing about Yahweh's mighty sword, and they'll shield you with their wings. That reminds me of the scripture. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Right? So, it says all the angels sing about Yahweh's mighty sword, and they'll shield you with their wings. That's that's that hedge of protection, and that's that strong tower. The Lord, calling on the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that's the equivalent of having, you know, a strong tower around you, having the protection, from the enemy. It says, and keep you close to the Lord. Don't pay heed to temptation, for his hands are so cold. You gotta help me keep the devil way down in the hole. So that's what I got right now. Um, Lord's willing, this was edifying. And with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS whom taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity of the men and women who follow. Shalom.